Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why the Cowboys need to make a huge change to get things back on track.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why people should be very concerned about Baker Mayfield's latest annex. Speak for yourself on a Monday. Starts right now. I don't like it, Jason. I don't like it at all.
Beating up Kansas, is that his latest annex?
I don't like what he's grabbing.
Winning the Heisman Trophy, is that to be concerned about? All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by legendary coach and Hall of Famer Jimmy Johnson, as well as future NFL Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. Let's start in Dallas, where the Eagles took the complete control of the NFC East last night, routing the depleted Cowboys 37-9 for their 8th straight win. After a slow start, Philly's offense came alive in the second half, while the defense held the Ezekiel Elliott-less Cowboys to just 9 points and forced 4 turnovers from Dak Prescott. Here's Jason Garrett after the game.
Guys get hurt, guys get out of the lineup for different reasons, and you just have to keep moving on. And we haven't done a good enough job of that at this point over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, it's a quick turnaround for us. You know, Chargers will be here on Thursday, so we have to put this one to bed quickly, learn the lessons quickly, and move on.
Cowherd, this is the second week in a row Garrett hasn't been able to make adjustments needed to get his team going. Is it time possibly for the Cowboys to move on from Jason Garrett?
No, because I don't think you can hire a great coach. They had him, and they ran them both out. They had Jimmy and they had Bill. And so my question is, can you find somebody that's willing to deal with Jerry, who wants to be in the war room, who wants to do the post-game interview? This is not a job that Harbaugh would work in, short term. But Jason Garrett is dealing with the only owner in the league that holds a press conference after every game, that wants to be in the scouting, and he wants to be, this isn't like when Jimmy took over and Jerry was out doing business and Jimmy was doing football. Now, Jerry now wants to be, he's post-70 now. So again, what are the applicants? What are the options?
You got to go find your Sean McVay. You got to go find your young coach that can deal with that. And look, Dallas has pretty good personnel. I know they've got some injury issues, but
they do. Their pass rush is suddenly good.
Injuries are a part of football, and I'm seeing other coaches, the Philadelphia Eagles, they don't have their left tackle. They didn't have their best linebacker. They have their running backs, but the Eagles, and they've adjusted and continued to win. A lot of teams in the NFL, week 10, 11, 12, are dealing with injuries. I'm not sure if Jason Garrett's the right guy.
What would you do?
Oh, I think Jason's going to be the right guy. I think he's going to be there because I don't see him making a change. I think he's an outstanding football coach.
You do?
I think the injuries have really hurt him, and they ran into a better football team. Philadelphia just better. Now, Philadelphia did not play well the first half. They let Dallas get the momentum right off the bat with the kickoff return, and everybody got all excited. They were able to hold them to a field goal. But you look at the game, the first half, Philadelphia's receivers dropped passes. They were not sharp. They were not into it. And Dallas was all geeked up. They were ready. Second half, it came back to a true form. Philadelphia played better, and of course, they're the better team.
Yeah, well, I think it's when you look at injuries, and when I played on teams, when you lose your best player, Ezekiel Elliott, when he goes down, and you lose your best offensive tackle, not just the best offensive tackle on your team, we're talking one of the best left tackle in all of football. I don't know, there's a psychology there. First of all, it does not help your team, and I think you're seeing the results of that. There is no way, I know you're not saying right now in the middle of the season, get rid of Jason Garrett. Future, I agree. If you think you're going to find somebody better, then go get somebody. That's how business works. I don't care about just football. But right now, I think Jason Garrett, give him a chance. He still has a playoff football team, as far as I'm concerned. They need to get some of those injured guys back. We still haven't seen them take the field. I know Ezekiel's not going to be here, but get that left tackle back. Get Sean Lee back. Let's see how this team goes from there. I can't put judgment on it just quite yet.
Look at this list of teams that have been beat by more than 20 3 times this season. That's the Dolphins, the Colts, the 49ers. The Cowboys allegedly were a Super Bowl team this year.
Well, but did those teams lose outside of Luke Kuechly, Sean Lee is the most valuable linebacker in the league, the best left tackle, the best running back. I mean, and I'll say this, that division, the NFC right now is stacked. I mean, the AFC, you got the Steelers, the Patriots. Boy, you're falling down like Titans. You have a precipitous drop. NFC, you got like 8. Who's bad in the AFC? San Francisco? Well, when Garoppolo starts, they probably won't be terrible.
Let's try this again. If you're a 38-year-old up-and-coming coach, Why wouldn't you want to go work for the Cowboys and Jerry Jones? I saw John Gruden go work for Al Davis, and it worked. I've seen why isn't the next Sean McVay or whomever?
It's hard to find those guys.
That's a lot of people have been looking for Sean McVay. and you talk about the 38-year-old up and coming. Where are they? I don't know. I don't see all these guys out there. And it's not that easy to find one.
Is Jerry as difficult to work with as Colin is alleging?
You know what? I will say this. He's always been difficult, but I do think initially he was doing business for the first 7-8 years.
Yeah,
now he thinks he's a football genius.
And Jerry, it was, we really didn't have a problem working together. I mean, again, he was tied up trying to pay bills. He borrowed a lot of money to buy the Cowboys. But Jerry's a very hard-working, passionate guy for what he's doing. And I mean, that was a different world back then. That was a long time ago.
All right, one other quick question. What's happened to Dak Prescott? Should we read anything into Dak Prescott, or is it just the injuries?
Well, I think that, not having that left tackle, not having a running game, not having Ezekiel Elliott, when everybody's trying to defend the run and stop Ezekiel, it's a lot easier for Dak to run play action, no pressure on him, make a nice easy throw. He was under, duress last night, from the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a tough one.
Hey guys, it's Jason McIntyre. Are you ready to save money and play more games? Then let me introduce you to our sponsor, GameFly. GameFly is the best way to buy and rent all your favorite games. At GameFly.com, pick your favorite games and have them mailed directly to your door. GameFly is the leading video game rental service with over 9,000 titles to choose from. With GameFly, you can try your favorite games and movies before you buy. Plus, you keep the games as long as you want. You'll never have to worry about late fees, and you can cancel at any time. They now offer movie rentals on GameFly too. Go to GameFly.com/speakforyourself and start your free premium 30-day trial today. That's GameFly.com/speakforyourself. The premium trial allows you to check out 2 games and/or movies at a time. You can only get this offer by visiting GameFly.com/speakforyourself. Now go sign up and start playing all your favorite games absolutely free for 30 days.
To New Orleans, where the Saints kept their 8-game win streak alive. I'm surprised by this. Coming back from down 15 in the final 3 minutes to beat Washington in overtime. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, the Vikings dominate the Rams in a battle of 2 of the NFC's best. Whitlock, both the Saints and Vikings, now 8-2, game back of Philly. To you, which one's the biggest threat to the Eagles?
First, I want to say I watched both of these games, and what the Vikings did, I thought was incredible. I thought the Rams played well.
So
even they really, the kid Cooper, your boy, Cooper Kupp,
fumbled,
dropped a big pass.
Your boy.
But yeah, Eastern Washington guy.
Not mine when he had a touchdown.
But the Saints, that comeback, and Drew Brees and what he's doing at 39 years old, and they have Sean Payton. I'm going to go with that quarterback and coach combination and say they're a bigger threat to the Eagles than a Vikings team that I'm very impressed with.
Here's the one thing. Sean Payton's been in the playoffs. Drew Brees has been in the playoffs. I love the Minnesota story. But, man, if I think I said this last week, if I went to a football fan and said, name 5 Vikings, they would give you Stephon Diggs, and they'd say, is Adrian Peterson still playing? There are not a lot of guys with playoff experience.
Right.
I like Zimmer, but is it Bridgewater's team? Is it Case?
No, that's Case Keenum.
It's going to be harder. And I think Bridgewater, that's what the coaches want. I know what I get with New Orleans. They've been in big games with that coach and that quarterback, and, they're a little young on defense in the secondary, but New Orleans has been there before.
Yeah, I think that the danger to Philadelphia is Philadelphia. I love Minnesota. I love what New Orleans is doing. They may be on par with Philadelphia, but if Philadelphia plays at their best and they don't turn it over and Carson Wentz stays healthy, it's going to be hard to beat that bunch. They're playing pretty good, and they've got a little bit of an attitude with them right now. They're on a roll. They feel good about themselves. I think, Colin, like you said, the NFC, they're stacked. There's some outstanding teams. Any one of them could get hot one day or hot for a couple of ball games and win this thing.
If Atlanta wins tonight, you're going to have Carolina, Saints, Atlanta in one division to all be playoff teams.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. And they're going to win tonight, all right? You got to believe. I think right now, after what I saw Philly, the way they played last night, dominating in Dallas, I think they're the best team in the NFL right now. Them or the New England Patriots, whatever, NFC's best team. But if you look at those Saints, with that running back combination, they can run the football now. With the Hall of Fame quarterback who's still playing well. I mean, that combination of Kamara and Ingram, peanut butter jelly with the baseball bat. I mean, they're swinging to the fences every time they touch the ball. And then you got the Hall of Famer Slicer and Dicer. You got a good defense now. I'm telling you right now, I played in that division, obviously. When you go to New Orleans, it is so tough to win in that dome. I think we won one time out of the 5 years that I was there. They are the team that can score points on any defense in the league, including the Philadelphia Eagles. They can score, and they can score them quick like they showed yesterday. And so that's the team that I think is definitely going to pose a little bit of trouble for those Philly.
Let's be fair, though. And again, New Orleans to me is a bigger threat. But the Vikings shut down, I think, one of the most talented offenses in the league. Their defense is for real and maybe the best in the league. And then I got every week I watch, I'm blown away by Case Keenum. Even when he makes mistakes, it's an aggressive, confident mistake.
You know, Greg Olson was on the telecast yesterday.
And did an awesome job.
Yeah, he did a really nice job, and he made a point. He said, you know, when you look at quarterbacks in the NFL, a lot of people look for flash. You know, they look for the big explosive plays, the great plays. He said, the only thing is the guy that doesn't make the mistakes, you know, that takes what's there and lets the players around him win the games, he's going to be the more successful quarterback. Yeah. And that's what Case Keenum's doing. You know, he's not making the explosive plays, but with that defense, you know, with the way they're playing as a team, hey, they're as good as anybody.
You know, Belichick, I think, was it Belichick or it could have been you? Somebody said you lose more games than you win.
Yeah.
And with Case Keenum, you don't lose a lot of games with him.
But let's don't short. I watched that game very closely. There was a couple of times under immense rush.
He kind of escaped.
He escaped and got the ball to this Thielen or whatever.
It didn't look pretty, though.
Yeah, and it was amazing. Look, I'm sure they want to get back to Teddy Bridgewater, but there's no way in hell you sit Case Keenum down at this point. You got to roll the dice.
That's a great question. If you're in that locker room today, and players like Teddy, the story's amazing. The coaches may like
Coaches
it.
like it.
Okay, but Case is winning. Could you make a change?
No, you can't do that. I learned that at a very young, in my rookie year. Came into the league, Rich Gannon was our quarterback because Elvis Gerback got hurt. You remember you were out there. We went 13-3 that year. And Elvis came back towards the end of the year, and they decided to make that change as we went to the playoffs and went out there and lost. We had so much momentum going with Rich Gannon, and I think we probably could have won the Super Bowl that year if he would have stayed. And so I think right now you don't go away from the hot hand. I mean, you know that better than anybody, Coach. You got to stick with the guy that's getting.
He's playing too good. They're winning games, and you know, if you make a change, even though the other players may like Bridgewater, hey, right now they feel pretty good about themselves. You don't want to mess with that. You know, they're feeling too good about themselves.
That's fragile in a locker room. You get to Thanksgiving. Let's move to Denver. Here we go with the Broncos fired offensive coordinator Mike McCoy. After the offense put up just 17 points, ugly loss to the Bengals yesterday, winnable game. On Friday, John Elway called out his team, saying they were soft. And after the game, head coach Vance Joseph addressed his GM's comments.
You know, when he said that, you know, I was initially offended, but, you know, in some aspects, he's right. You know, and when you've lost that many games in a row, you have to do things in a tougher manner. You know, and if you're not winning, that's an issue in football. Football is a physical, tough sport. You know, so when you're not winning, that word comes up.
Say soft to another guy, he's like, what? I'm not soft, but I mean, if you just take a look back at and look at it, I mean, the truth is that's what we've been putting out there. That's the type of team that we've developed into. That's what we got. It's the truth. You know, he was telling the truth.
Wow, Whitlock, should Elway shoulder more of the blame for Denver's struggles?
Yes, because I think Chris Harris, you know, their elite cornerback said it best. When it goes this sour, everybody in the organization should be held accountable, including John Elway, who clearly didn't draft the right quarterback, didn't acquire the right quarterback, isn't playing the right quarterback. And when your team when one side of the ball's been carrying you for a long time, eventually they just get worn out. They can't carry you forever. They haven't fixed their offense, and so the team looks soft.
You know what I don't like? It's really hard to coach. This league is hard. And I got social media. I'm babysitting my players. If I was a coach, if you want to rip me, at the end of the year, fire me. But I'm in the middle of a dogfight here. I don't want my GM talking. I don't want my owner talking. I don't want my scouts talking. I mean, Belichick won't let his assistants talk. Like, to me, it's just, if I'm in the middle of this thing, now all of a sudden my players have to address this. I'm trying to win a division. I got to face Derek Carr, and I got Brock Osweiler. I got to face Phillip Rivers. I have Brock Osweiler. I just don't like, John Elway should know better. Because when he coached, he didn't want somebody barking to the press.
Well, he's got to pick the right head coach, because clearly he wants his coach to say that to the team.
Why don't you say it in a private meeting?
That's, again, if you pick the right coach, then you guys are on the same page, and you don't have to speak up in place of your head coach.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of the same way as you, Colin. You know, I think if he wanted to say that they were soft, go into a meeting and talk to them in closed-door session. But you look at Denver. You know, here, you know, they're one of the better teams in the league, yard-wise, defensively. But they're one of the worst in the league giving up points because they turn the ball over. And Jason, you know, listen to you, I don't think you like their quarterback.
Yeah, you probably hate their quarterback. The way I look at it from a player, I'm trying to take it from a player's perspective. If somebody said that about me, first of all, you can't generalize, okay? Because not everybody on that team is soft.
Right.
So then I would think that if I was on that team, I would say, well, I know he's not talking to me. You know, maybe he's talking to somebody else. But this is what happens when you're losing. I've been on a lot of losing teams. You've seen it. And this is what coaches do, and players do this too. They're talking along, well, that guy's soft. Well, he's not getting his rest. He's going out. He's partying. You start looking and searching for all these different reasons. Why are we losing? And that's what John Elway's doing. It's the normal human condition right now. He's just searching for answers. And what can I do to get these guys going? Frustrated. I think he made a bad choice by saying that, absolutely. But he's doing whatever he can to try and salvage this season, because it is going south right now, and it's getting embarrassing for him right now. He's embarrassed. That's why he said that.
You know, listen, Denver and Pittsburgh are really good organizations. Now, they're really good. Pat Bowlen and the Rooney family. When they had Bradshaw and Big Ben, home run. And when they had Elway and they had Peyton Manning, home run. And when they didn't have good quarterbacks, they were both average.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of this stuff is you got a 6'8" quarterback who gets the ball batted down at the line 5 times a game.
I want to be clear. My point is, and maybe you guys disagree with, I really think he's taking a shot at his head coach. I think you go back to that Monday Night Football game they had a couple weeks ago where John Gruden, I thought, laced into the head coach very subtly throughout the entire – there's no accountability. They had a guy, a punt returner, dropping kicks repeatedly, or kickoff returner dropping kicks repeatedly, and he's like, man, he's got more – and Simeon, Gruden wanted out of the game. And he basically – there's no accountability on this team. Elway picked this coach. If you watch and I've watched a lot of the Denver, the coach seems – to lack confidence. Mark Schlereth has been on this show talking about the coach doesn't really have the power to do anything. Elway, to me, is taking a shot at the coach that is too soft. There's no accountability.
By the way,
but you got to question that. Has he empowered the guy?
This is interesting, just as you talked. For Gruden to go out there and really take a shot at the coach, was he saying what Elway told him to say? For Gruden, I mean, this happens.
Yeah.
We know the game. You know, you came out the day after that game and you're like, man, Gruden was killing. And I'm like, is that Elway telling Gruden to crush him?
Well, I don't think Elway would work in that fashion.
Okay.
In terms of telling him. But is he
Suggesting?
reflecting? No, not even. Just reflecting. Me and Elway had a conversation. Elway thinks his team's soft. And there's no accountability. I don't think Elway asked him to, but that was Jimmy, you go into those prep meetings. Yeah. You can get the feel for the organization.
I just know this. If I was the head coach and that was said, there would be an iceberg between me and whoever said it.
All right, welcome back to the show. Former NFL scout and NFL player Bucky Brooks is here, and we're joined now by Colin's co-host on The Herd, Christine Leahy. More on Harbaugh in a minute, but first, let's talk some Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield, who won't start Saturday against West Virginia after apologizing for grabbing his crotch and yelling profanities at Kansas players during Oklahoma's rout of the Jayhawks. This isn't Mayfield's first instance of questionable behavior this year. He planted the Oklahoma flag in midfield after beating Ohio State in Columbus. And back in February, he was caught on camera being arrested for public intoxication. Here's an emotional Lincoln Riley on disciplining his quarterback.
Whatever the rest of my career ends up being like, I don't know that I'll ever have a player that's as special to me as he is. And we've been through a lot together.
Cowherd, do you have an issue with Oklahoma overreacting here and benching Baker Mayfield?
That's you're using.
I editorialized.
Yes, I don't have a problem. I think at the college level, if I give my daughter or son to you as a scholarship athlete, that you have to create an environment of discipline, and I would demand that. I'm not going to send my kids to a loose coach where anything goes. I'm sending my daughter or son to you, often 18 states away, and I expect the right kind of environment. I want you to help them with messaging. I want you to hold them accountable. I want you to hold my son and daughter accountable. If you're allowing your star player to act like this, what else is going on that I don't see? That's on national TV. What's going on in your dorms that you're letting go with the other players?
Are you concerned about the Kansas players? Could we call up the tape?
I couldn't give a rip about them. Nobody cares.
What? Their kids. Can we show the Kansas players before the game, the cheap shot during the game? What should happen to these guys over in Kansas? Look at this cheap shot. How much cheaper could it be? Yes. They provoked this kid.
Oh, provoked.
They provoked him. And again, listen, Baker Mayfield has made some mistakes.
Some? I got a police video.
But you can't he's 5'11", quarterbacking one of the great programs. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Right.
He plays with a chip on his shoulder. I love this. I love the competitor in him.
That's because you didn't play quarterback. You're crazy.
You know what the best way
You're
is
crazy.
To get revenge on something like that is to be the bigger person.
Yes.
And to show them in your game. And what he did, I understand things are going to get chippy, but what he did is disgusting. It's just gross. And if he's going to do that on national TV,
it's commonplace in sports.
No,
I don't see quarterbacks doing that.
That's disgusting. And if he's doing that on national TV, what is he doing when we're not watching him on national TV? Not just in the dorm room, but if you even have the mindset to do something like that, that's just gross.
I think the big thing, if we're talking about just from a college standpoint, I mean, you're supposed to be educating student athletes, trying to make them better. So Lincoln Riley's taken an opportunity to really help him improve his character, trying to let him know that at all times people are looking up to him. If we're saying that he's a role model, there's a way that he should act. If we're spinning it forward to the National Football League and what he will be, he'll be a CEO. And you don't want your CEO of a team acting like that. The same reasons we've taken Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, and others to task, you have to take Baker Mayfield to task and show him the right way.
Look, I get all that. But why is there no concern for the Kansas players who took the cheap shot, who started the poor sportsmanship at the beginning of kickoff?
Okay, that's fine. So let's say, again, let's go back to the premise that I send my daughter or son to a school, and my son and daughter is provoked, and my son and daughter do something like that. When I get on the phone with them, I'm not the parent of the Kansas players. I'm chewing my son out because you weren't the bigger person, to her point. I don't give a rip. Those Kansas guys, when the last game's played, they'll never be in the NFL. That's that's a first-round guy.
Draft pick. Look, okay, so I get what you're saying, but I just don't know about benching, having run stairs.
He
this
could
just
be
doesn't
benched
seem...
for a snap.
It's college football.
A snap.
Could be warm-ups.
He's just not he's just not starting.
I agree mostly with you all's points. I really do. But I do just think we need to take into account when they won't shake your hand before the game.
That's classless.
When they take the cheap shot at you during the game.
I agree.
You're going to get amped up and a little bit emotional, and you're going to...
But this is the point. But could I say this? Are they doing that because they know it'll get to him?
Yes. They know how to get in his head.
They've watched him. This guy's cocky, and nobody's doing that to Josh Rosen.
He's competitive. He's highly competitive. And look, he's done some dumb stuff. There's no question
Tom
about
Brady's
it.
competitive. I've never seen him grab himself like that.
It's a good point.
I've watched a lot of Brady. Yeah, I haven't seen that. All right, I'm wrong.
You're very permissive. You're going to be a very permissive parent. All right, to Madison, where the Badgers, all right, Whitlock was right. They're undefeated. They almost won by the exact score he predicted. Rolled over Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, whatever, 24-10. Sometimes Whitlock nails it. Whatevs. Harbaugh's now just 1-6. against top 10 teams since taking over in Ann Arbor. Still yet to win the Big Ten or make the playoffs. Whitlock, fair to say your favorite coach hasn't lived up to the hype.
Yeah, and if we want to talk about someone who needs to be disciplined in college football and needs some repercussion for all that LeVar Ball annex that he does, that drives me crazy. Listen, everybody thinks that I had to defend I don't hate Jim Harbaugh. He used to come to the Ball State campus and party with us when we were kids. I like Jim Harbaugh. I just want him to be the guy that's not the attention-seeking glory hound. All his offseason antics, I think he put a target on his own back. And that Chip, just coach and win games. And everybody needs to quit comparing him to Urban Meyer and Nick Saban until he actually wins something and then put him on that pedestal. And so mostly I need to shut up, though. I want to hear you defend your favorite
No, I'm not
coach.
going to defend him. He has not lived up to the hype.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm wrong on that. Now, but when they asked me when I first came to this network, my first day on this network was the Michigan-Utah game. And they asked me on the air, they said, is he going to be a top 10 program in 3 years? And
Unless I see the tape, I don't believe you.
Well, it's true. My hair was a different color.
It was. We wouldn't recognize you.
Yeah, but my point was, they're going to be good. Who's leaving the top 10? Is Dabo Swinney retiring? Is Jimbo Fisher? He's done a really good job. But in fairness, he hasn't won the big game. And what I keep saying is, because the Big Ten 5, 6 years ago was a mess. The Big Ten coaching now is out of this world. This is a real conference now. It's hard to win these games. Chris Peterson at Washington, he's not winning all his games either. It's hard.
But at the same time, part of the hype, it wasn't for him, it was for the school, right? His job was to put Michigan on the map, make them more relevant, and I would argue that he absolutely has.
Wins.
He has. And also, we haven't seen all of his recruits become upperclassmen yet. That hasn't happened yet.
I think the big thing, he hasn't had a marquee quarterback. And that is obviously on him because he's beating the bushes in recruiting. I think the thing that will set Michigan and push them over the top is when he gets a marquee quarterback.
Oh, you mean like Wisconsin? Wisconsin's quarterback's going to the top of the draft?
It's a different deal.
No,
but Wisconsin, when we talk about Wisconsin, they're winning their schedule. They haven't had a tough slate.
They just beat up Michigan.
They haven't had a tough slate. We'll see if they win the Big Ten championship game. To Michigan, in their side, Michigan State, Ohio State, they have to deal with Penn. He has to deal with more than what Wisconsin has if you compare there. I think when he gets a marquee quarterback in time, there we go.
No, I will say this. A fair criticism. I'm Jim Harbaugh. I'm an NFL quarterback. Okay, the one position I should be able to clean up on is quarterback. By the way, Tom Brady went to Michigan. The one criticism of Harbaugh that's completely fair is, it's not outside of Russell Wilson, who was at Wisconsin for an hour. They don't do quarterbacks. They do offensive linemen. Harbaugh has failed at quarterback. I think that's come on, he's been there 3 years.
That is a fair assessment. He has not found the right quarterback to play in there. And I will say this, the quarterback is changing. The quarterbacks that dominated in high school are not the classic throwers. You talk about Tom Brady, the way Harbaugh played. Does he have an eye for the athletic quarterback? That is really the rage in the national.
Oh, you mean the way Nick Saban wins with whoever they throw at quarterback, Jalen Hurts, A.J. McCarron, whomever plays quarterback at Alabama, they find a way to win. I'm watching Wisconsin win. Who the hell is their quarterback?
They're winning in spite of their quarterback.
Yeah, and so why can't Jim Harbaugh do the same and earn the hype that Colin and all, and you keep talking, who's leaving? That's like when Michael Jackson showed up. You think he's worried about Prince? Do you think he's worried about Jim Morrison? Do you think he's worried about Elvis Presley? I'm Michael Jackson. That's how y'all hyped him up. Harbaugh's supposed to moonwalk and make everybody make room for him.
I thought that game was a thriller.
It was. I enjoyed it.
Really
I did enjoy it.